The Mazda 3 is truly a global car and a car for all seasons. Built in 6 countries, it sells in over 120 markets worldwide and has sold more than 4 million examples since it first began sale in 2003. The 3 is the car that redefined Mazda, and we've been impressed by all 3 generations. So much so that 1 in 10 examples of the Mazda 3 are sold right here in Australia. It's won the hearts of buyers to the point where it's become the default small car choice down under. And while the Mazda 3 doesn't have best-selling status here in Japan, it's nonetheless a strong home market performer. In Japan, the 3 is sold as the Excella, a nameplate combining accelerate and excellent. Japanese Excella buyers tend to be around the same age as Aussie Mazda 3 owners, with men more likely to buy the car than women. Irrespective of which country it's sold, it seems Aussie and Japanese buyers prefer petrol-powered automatic hatch models. There's nothing like driving a car in its home market to get to the core of what it's all about. And what better time to drive a car in Japan than during the National Cherry Blossom Festival, or Haname. Literally, the viewing of the blossom, Hanami celebrates renewal and the coming of warmer weather with a splendid sea of delicate pink flowers and their intoxicating perfume. The festival dates back more than 1300 years, when the arrival of the blossom marked the beginning of rice planting season and was celebrated only by the aristocracy with music and specially prepared food and drink. As was tradition then, Hanami is still celebrated with food, drink and music, but is now observed by all as a means of marking the beginning of the new school and work year. As such, it's typically enjoyed with family, friends and colleagues alike. Mazda's R&D centre in Yokohama has had an integral role in the birth and evolution of the Mazda 3, and you don't have to travel far from home base to experience the splendour of the cherry blossom. Each of Japan's 43 prefectures, and indeed most of its largest cities, take pride in publishing the best viewing spots for the cherry blossoms, and indeed when the blossoms will be at their peak. So seriously do the Japanese take the Cherry Blossom Festival that a special division of the Weather Forecasting Agency exists to predict when the blossoms will bloom. Depending on how far north you are, this can be any time between mid-January and early May. The festival is the 4th largest travel and tourism event in the world, drawing hundreds of thousands of visitors from right across Japan and the globe. Such is the size of the economic boom the festival generates that it too has been given its own name, Bakugai, literally the exploding of sales. And speaking of exploding sales, it might surprise you to learn that the Excella sells almost as many diesel models as it does petrol. Our Excella is a diesel variant, similar in specification to the Mazda 3 XD Astina, sold back home briefly during 2015. Mazda no longer sells diesel-powered variants of the 3 here in Australia, which is a shame considering the impressive acceleration and fuel economy offered from the 2.2-litre twin-turbo engine. Driving a dirty diesel car through the midst of this amazing pink-blossomed landscape might seem like waving a red rag to a bull, but Mazda insists its Skyactiv diesel engines are amongst the cleanest available, using less fuel to deliver more power than competitor models, a point we're sure isn't lost on Mazda's perennially blossoming Mazda 3 customers.